for factoring, we are going to learn how to do the X method today. You use the X method when you have 3 terms. All right, so when we have our trinomials, that's when you're going to be using the X method. All right, when you have your trinomials. When using the X method, you have to come up with 2 numbers that multiply to get the C value. So multiply to get the C value and add to get the B value. Multiply to get the C value, add to get the B value.
I remember this now.
Yep. It'll come back. All right, so on our first example, always check for GCF first. All right, no matter what problem you're doing, you check and see if you have a GCF. So here, there are no numbers in common. There are no letters in common. Every term has to have a number you can divide out, and every term has to have the same letter for you to have a GCF. So because there's no numbers, there are no letters, this one does not have a GCF. So next, we are going to multiply the first and the last terms together. So I'm going to take 2, and I'm going to multiply it by 12. And that is where I'm getting 24. So that number goes up top there. And then your B value is going to go on bottom. And you are going to ask yourself, what multiplies to get 24 but adds to get 11?
8 and 3.
Amazing.
8 and 3. If you get stuck, all right, because you probably will, you'll have a brain fart and you just can't come up with a factor, right? If you get stuck, remember, you can't have calculators on this. So make a factor tree and just start listing them. Start with 1, 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6. And look at your chart and look at the numbers and see which one adds up to 11. All right, so if you are stuck, make a chart and just go through all the numbers.
Oh, I really remember this.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so nostalgic. It's like I never
Oh,
forgot.
yeah.
It's like I never forgot.
I kept on calling it the extract.
Yep.
Like the show.
All right, over here. You're going to open up 2 parentheses. My 2 factors. You are going to put x and x to start off because it's x squared, and x times x gives you x squared. And you're going to put the 2 numbers, the 2 factors you found inside your parentheses. They are positive, so plus 8 plus 3. Make sense so far? All right, almost done. You have to divide by the first term and reduce. So the first term here is a 2. That very first number we're going to go back and divide by. So we're going to do 8 divided by 2, 3 divided by, 2. Sorry. 8 divided by 2 and 3 divided by 2. And we are going to reduce it. What is 8 divided by 2?
4.
So I have x plus 4. Does 3 divided by 2 reduce at all? No. So if it doesn't reduce, we're going to bottoms up. The number on the bottom is going to come up in front of the x. So 2x plus 3.
What the heck?
Wait,
Oddly
let's do this a
nostalgic.
different way?
Yeah, we did it.
I can't remember how.
Because I don't remember that bottoms up thing.
Yeah.
You did it. Did you do grouping with the
What?
GCF?
Probably.
I think it's a little bit harder. I'll show you the grouping way if you want to know how to do
You know
it.
what she did? She made us put the 2 in front of the x no matter what, and then we looked back and reduced it. Yeah. So it would have been 2x plus 8, and she would have said divide that by 2. That's what she did.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember now.
Okay.
Bottoms up.
just get them wrong because I didn't reduce it.
All right, so are we good? All right, I'm going to do a bunch of examples, so if you're still a little shaky on it, that's okay. Just hang with me, and hopefully you will get it after a couple times through. All right, I'm not going to do the whole back page, so don't worry. All right, number 1. So I'm going to take the first guy, times it by the last guy. 2 times 6. 12, and then the middle guy goes down here. So what 2 numbers multiply to give me 12, add to give me 7? 3 and 4. So I do x plus 3, x plus 4. And then what number do you divide by? 2. It's front number here, so divide by 2, divide by 2. 3 divided by 2, does that reduce? 2x plus 3. What about 4 divided by 2? X plus 2.
Oh, God.
All right, number 2. What number goes on top here?
24.
24. 3 times 8. What number goes on bottom? Negative 14. All right, so I want 2 numbers that are going to multiply and give me 24, but add and give me negative 14.
Negative 12, negative 2.
Negative 12, negative 2. If this guy up here is positive, these 2 numbers have to be the same sign because you're multiplying. And the only way you can multiply and get a positive number is if they're the same sign. They either have to both be positive, right, to get a positive, or if they're both negative, the negatives will turn into a positive. Does that make sense? So if this guy's positive, both of these guys have to be the same sign. They'll either both be negative or they'll both be positive if this guy's positive. Right, so if this guy's positive, they're the same sign. All right, x minus 12, x minus 2. And then what do you divide by?
Why is it A?
Oh, sorry, it's supposed to be an A. I'm just going to change these to x's. That's fine. It's probably supposed to be an A. Okay, yes, divide by 3. 12 divided by 3 reduces 2. And then on the other one, 2 divided by 3, does it reduce? Nope, so bottoms up. 3x minus 2. All right, on number 3, what number goes up here? Negative 12. There is no number in front, so it's an understood 1, technically. What number goes on bottom? All right, so I want 2 numbers that multiply to give me negative 12. Yeah, negative 6 and positive 2. So if this guy is negative, these signs have to be different. One is going to be negative, one is going to be positive. So if this guy is negative, these signs will be different. Right, and so when you put this in the parentheses, b minus 6, b plus 2, if you divide by 1, what happens? It's the same thing, right? So you don't actually have to divide by 1 unless you want to. But it's not going to change your problem at all. You call me.
It's like a problem. It has nothing to do with the math teacher. Your 6 is like a B.
Yeah, I know they do. I don't like when they use B because I can't, like, this doesn't really. But it's not a capital here. That's okay. Alright. Let's see. Number 4. Alright, on number 4, what goes on up top, right up here? Negative 12. What goes on the bottom? Alright, so what are the 2 numbers that multiply to give you negative 12, but add to give you negative 4? Negative 6 and 2 again. X minus 6. X plus 2. And then what do you divide by? 4. Alright, 6 divided by 4. Does that reduce?
No, that's not.
Are you sure it doesn't reduce?
It does reduce, but it's going to end up being 2x minus 3.
Yes, that's correct. So 6 divided by 4 reduces to 3 over 2, right?
So it's your bottom.
And 2 over 4 reduces to what? 1 over 2. So we're going to bottom up both fractions. So we're going to bottom up this guy and we're going to bottom up this guy. And so then your final answer is 2x minus 3 and 2x plus 1.
What the crap?
Is that what you did, Faith?
Yeah. I did, well, I'm doing it the way I remembered it, so I wasn't entirely sure.
Wait,
Yeah.
how do you know when it's like supposed to divide by
Every time you do.
the okay, and how do you know like what number?
The very front number.
Okay.
All right, so make sure you reduce and then bottoms up. Do you want to try number 5 on your own? Yes. Yes, you do.
Oh, yeah.
You do. Take a second, try number 5 on your own.
If you add 90 and 1.
That's why it's 90 and -1. No. What are you talking about? We're on the same page. We're trying to get there on
Yeah. I'm so confused. Wait, what are you confused about?
No, because I thought she was talking about these two, and I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, Faith?
After we're done, can I go back to the
Would it be 90 minus 1 or would it be 1 minus 90?
90 minus 1, because you want a positive 89.
Okay.
You give me down to.
No, Isabel, you're right.
Why is it not 1t minus no? Wait, plus 9.
That's right, you need 2 factors. That's right.
Oh. I was like, what?
You're right, too. Keep going.
Oh.
I don't know how to do GCF. That's the thing I always mess up on. I don't remember.
What number is it coming?
3. Okay, so what do I do?
Divide everything.
Oh, so
I remember this because you put the 3 in front of the 2 parentheses, right?
Yeah. All right, let's do number 5 real fast. So you should have gotten negative 90 here, 89 right here. So your two numbers that multiply to give you negative 90 but add to give you 89 are 90 and minus 1.
Is it okay if I wrote those?
Yeah. So x plus 90, x minus 1, or t. Divide by the 10, the front number. So x plus 9, and then bottoms up 10x minus 1. Okay, number 6. Number 6, on the notes, I gave you the hint that it has a GCF first that you have to take care of. On your practice, on your test, I'm not going to tell you. You have to be able to recognize it. Now, if you're doing these problems, like if you were to do this, you'd have to do 9 times 21, right? That's a pretty big number. It probably has a GCF. All right, I'm not going to be that mean to you. So, if you're getting really, really big numbers or you feel like something's going wrong, check and see if you have a GCF. What can you divide all of these numbers by? 3. So that's your GCF. So you're going to take a 3 out. And when you take a 3 out, you are left with 3x squared plus 4x minus 7.
So the GCF has to apply to all three numbers.
Yes. All right. Once you take your GCF out, you can just ignore it for right now. It's going to be part of your answer, but it's not going to affect anything else you do. All right, so we're just going to ignore it. What number goes up top?
21, negative 21.
Negative 21. What number goes on bottom?
4.
So I want two numbers that multiply to give me negative 21, but add to give me 4. 7 and negative 3. So I have x plus 7, x minus 3. What number do I divide by now? The 3. This guy right here. All right, we're done with the 9x squared. We're not messing with that one. So we're going to divide by 3, divide by 3. 7 divided by 3 does not reduce. So 3x plus 7. And 3 divided by 3 reduces to 1. And so then your final answer is going to be 3, your GCF, times 3x plus 7 and x minus 1.
Yes.
All right, flip it over on the back. We're not doing all these problems. I definitely want to do number 15, though. 15. All right, so look at 15. What do you notice? GCF of a 4, right? So we're going to take a 4 out. X squared plus 4x plus 10. So what number goes on top? What number goes on bottom? What are two numbers that multiply to give you 10 but add to give you 4? What'd you say? None, right? There are no two numbers that multiply and give me 10 that add to give me 4. Right? 10 has the factors of 1 and 10 and 2 and 5. And neither of those guys are going to add and give me 4.
So that's
Would
just
you
the
take
final
away, bless you, would you distribute,
Wouldn't that be
would
the
it be
final
2
answer?
and then multiply the inside by 2? Or what would you do?
Extra
Would you
stuff.
put something on the outside?
No, that's just the final answer.
Yeah, this is it. You can't go any farther.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah.
No, it's not no solution.
Yeah, no solution isn't a thing here. We're just factoring as far as we can. All right, so as a little side note here, you don't have to write this down if you don't want to. If I wanted to factor the number 12, I can write that as 2 times 6. Does that make sense? Can you break down 6 farther, though?
Yes.
Yes, you can break down 6 as 2 times 3. Can you break down 2, 2, or 3? Not including 1. Not including 1. No. So this would be as far as you could factor 12. That's essentially what we're doing, but with expressions with x in it. So we are trying to break it down as far as we can. So like on this one, we pulled the 3 out, but we could break down this inside even farther to these two guys. So all of these expressions equal each other, but the point of the problem is to break it down as far as we can. And you'll see the point later. What we talk about tomorrow will be kind of why you need to know how to factor. Right now we're just learning how to factor. All right, any other problems on the back that jump out at you
No.
that you want me to do? Do y'all remember how to do difference of squares from yesterday?
Do we need to do that during this?
Yeah, let's do number 8 and then I'll be done if you're good. All right, number 8. I give you the hint, it has a GCF first.
Oh,
What is your GCF?
2,
4.
4, sorry. I have 7.
So 4, if you take a 4 out, you're left with m squared minus 9. All right, you are only using the x for the 3 terms. So I'm not actually even using the x on this problem. All right, I don't need to. I'm looking at the inside, and I'm noticing it's got 2 terms. It's a difference. Are they squares?
Yes.
They sure are. So I can split this up. What times what gives me m squared? M. What times what gives me 9?
3.
1 is plus, 1 is minus.
We were into it.
So you are only using the x on the 3 terms.
You said the practices all throughout the week. They're great.
Yes, they are grades. All right.
Can I finish?